Hello viewers, Phoenix Nova here with a 10-minute hardware review of the Logitech G-13 Gameboard. Let's start with taking a look at it, then we'll move on to software and functionality. Here's the Gameboard, I guess Logitech's melding of gaming and keyboard. I just call these keypads myself. As you can see, it's fairly symmetrical, other than the joystick off onto the side, has a good palm rest, and it has a raised area right underneath the knuckles. It feels solidly built and rests on rubber feet that allow it to slide, but stay in place with the weight of your hand. It has 22 main keys, 4 of which have small hemispherical indentions in them, so you can easily find them by touch alone. These are clearly meant to represent the WASD on a standard keyboard. Where the thumb of your left hand would rest, there is a joystick that is clickable with 2 buttons by it. Above the keyboard are 3 memory keys that quickly remap all of the keys if desired, effectively providing 3 actions for every key. You can program a different color backlight for each one of these so that you can tell which one you're on at a glance. Next to them is the MR or macro recording key that lets you reprogram any of the G keys with a macro on the fly. Above these is the LCD and its control keys. There's a function key that scrolls through various applets available, including the clocks and timers, CPU memory performance, an RSS reader, and the profile selector, which can swap out profiles that you've created for different games. The nice thing is that new applets can be loaded, which can give you more information about the games you're playing, like a percentage of the map explored or what channel you are in Mumble. The 4 keys beneath the LCD change function as needed by the applet loaded, usually basic movement or activation keys. The last button to the right is an on-off switch for the backlight. So let's move on to the software that you can use to program all of this. The software provided is Logitech's unified gaming software that allows you to configure your Logitech gaming devices, keyboards, mice, and in this case the Gameboard. You can directly click on the area you want to modify, or use the buttons in the taskbar below. The keyboard area allows you to easily drag out commands and connect them directly to the keys that you want to assign them to. Clicking the M keys allows you to assign additional commands to each of those keys. The commands section is fairly flexible and powerful. Of course, you can have a single button or multi-key macros that you can build, but additionally, you can have an entire block of text, media controls, ventrilo controls, or even launch an external program. The display configuration allows you to choose which applets you want running and allows configuration of those applets if available. An example would be setting the start time for your countdown timer. The illumination section sets the color and brightness of the backlight, which changes on the M key change, or alternately by which gaming profile you have loaded. The memory section allows you to load up to 5 profiles directly into the device itself for when you take your G-13 to an event that is supplying the computers. There are several things that I like about the Logitech G-13. First, the easy to find home keys so that you know exactly where your fingers are without having to look down at the device. There's also a really good number of keys. Most or all are within easy reach of your fingers. Also, the very powerful macro command builder is very useful and will allow a lot of flexibility to this. I also like the backlit display, which also has the customizable color, matching the backlight for the keys themselves. Some of the things that could be improved on this device, well, first off is that same backlit display. As you can see, there's quite a gloss on this, so depending on where your light source is going to depend on how well you can see that display. Also, this joystick is not movable. it actually looks like it's a component that can come off and say switch over to the other side. However, it doesn't. What this means is that it's basically created for your left hand. If you are a left-handed person that you are using your mouse with your left hand, so you would use your keyboard movement with your right hand, you lose the functionality of that joystick and its two buttons, which doesn't sound like a lot, except that it's two buttons, the click of the joystick, plus initially at least the 4 directions of the joystick. So you immediately lose 7 buttons. Also, while the device is very solidly built, and I appreciate that, it is a very large device as well. It seems to be built for those with large or medium hands. For instance, my wife does not find it comfortable, and it's not adjustable like some of the competitor units are. And lastly, while neither a pro or a con, it's not a very quiet device. Especially if you're getting very active in a game. With all that said, this is a device that I would recommend to gamers. There's a large number of keys which really come in handy for those playing an MMO that has a large command set or large action bar. I can see this would be really useful for RTS as well. You can map the joystick to some mouse function, so you might be able to use that to scroll through the screen quickly. One of the main reasons that I like this over a standard keyboard is that with the location of the WASD keys on a keyboard, you are really limited to what you can use your pinky for. Here, we've got a large set of keys right off to that side. The keys are not offset like they are on a standard keyboard, so it's a lot easier to know where you are and be able to move around to the different keys. And even your thumb has a lot more functionality than just being something for the spacebar or maybe Alt, where you've got the joystick, the 2 buttons down here, and these lower buttons are in easy reach of your thumb. The layout and design of this is meant for gaming, as opposed to your keyboard originally wasn't meant for gaming. So this gives you a little bit more functionality. And of course, that's not even including being able to quickly go up to the top and switch the functionality of all of your buttons. So if you are, say, in an MMO and you're doing a little PvE waiting for your PvP match to start, you might have different functionality mapped to these than when you get into your PvP. So once the PvP loads, you can instantly switch to a different set of buttons. And again, have the backlight, both on the keys and on the LCD display itself, change color to easily identify which function you currently are in. This has been my review of the Logitech G-13 gaming board. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe and like below. This has been Phoenix Nova, signing off.